What's up? Welcome to Startup X Gaming News Podcast. I'm your host, Six Sensei, and joining me today is Sean Zulu.
What's up, my ninjas?
Follow us on Twitter. I'm at 2SickTV, and you're at
Sean_Zulu. Don't forget the underscore.
And
Sean_Zulu. Don't you cut me off, Sensei.
This podcast is powered by TeamCaliber.com. It's a team that I am part of and super excited to be in, and it's just a hell of a lot of fun. Hopefully soon we'll have a lot more information and news about that stuff. But, you know, this is the first week we're recording with the knowledge that we're on iTunes. So why don't you go ahead and tell them? You're pretty much the webmaster when it comes to the podcast.
I guess so. So to speak.
Why don't you tell them the different places they can get the podcast?
Okay, so basically the idea with this whole Going Audio, taking Startup X Audio, was to make it as easy for people to consume as possible. So we're on iTunes, we're on Stitcher, and I'm also going to upload every episode to SoundCloud. Now, with that being said, the RSS feed thing is kind of tricky and it kind of acts like a bitch sometimes. So there may be some issues right now with, maybe streaming it on iTunes or whatever. The last I checked, it was fine, but we're on iTunes, we're on Stitcher, and we're going to be wherever we can get ourselves in the future to make it easy for you to listen to this and access it. And, you know, there's always SoundCloud. You can always go there. And the
RSS feed, that works with any of your podcast managing apps, correct?
Any of them.
So I use one of the apps on my Android, and yeah, there was a little bit of an issue with the streaming piece, but I was able to download it and then play it just fine.
Well, look, if you're hearing this right now, you're getting it some kind of way, right?
Well, you might be getting it through YouTube. So if you wanted to subscribe or rate us on iTunes, or, you know, check us out on Stitcher, or stream it to your phone while you're driving or taking the bus, or, I don't know, scratching nuts. I don't know what you do out there, but if you wanted to listen to our voices, which don't scratch your nuts while you listen to us, please. At least 10 people just scratched their nuts when I said that.
Well, we would highly appreciate, you know, your subscription to iTunes and giving us a rating and all that stuff like that. But, you know, if there is an issue with the way that you like to consume your podcast and you're having some kind of issue,
let us know.
Just tweet me, you know, get in touch with me however you want to get in touch with me. Google me, Sean Zulu. You'll find a way to get me some kind of way.
Don't forget the underscore.
Don't forget the goddamn underscore. And just let me know what issue you're having, and I will make sure that I'll find you a way to get this, you know, that makes you happy. And but I have a feeling that as the days go by and we put episodes out, it'll work itself out and we'll be good to go.
It's going to be fluid. It's going to be absolutely fluid.
Just to reiterate, we are on iTunes and Stitcher. So if you're getting this on
SoundCloud,
YouTube or wherever, you know, iTunes and Stitcher, go check it out. SoundCloud.
And anywhere else you want. If you want it somewhere, let us know.
Let me know.
This guy's the webmaster, Sean _ I'm just fucking with you now. No, he's the webmaster. He's going to figure out how to get it on there. You heard his commitment right here on the show. So I wanted to talk, since this is the first episode that we're, you know, officially audio, officially on iTunes, you know, we're making all this stuff happen. I figured, you know, why not kick this off, even though it's episode 41, why not kick this off with a little bit of our history in gaming? Well, where do we come from? What do we like today? What do we dislike today as far as game genres, games individually, and, you know, different things of that matter. So since I've had a few minutes to think about this topic, I think if you like, I'll go first, and just try to, you know, quickly go through my history in gaming.
Cool.
So my history, I started when I was about 4 for the first time ever, and I played the first Mario Brothers on regular Nintendo, NES. Now I'm 27 years old now, so that kind of touches back to how old I was then. It was a brand new system. My parents had it. I pulled an all-nighter with my parents. It's my first memory in gaming as well. We pulled an all-nighter, beat Mario in one night. We started it before the sun went down and, you know, finished it probably in my guesses, right? I'm 4 years old. I don't know, but probably about 4 o'clock in the morning. It was late. We all pulled an all-nighter. 4 years old. Who the hell does that? But it was awesome. It was an awesome memory to have with my parents, and, you know, it's just cool. So from there, I didn't really ever get into gaming. About 9 years old, I touched the Sega Genesis. A friend of mine had one. Begged for it. My parents got me one. I played Sonic. My parents got me Sonic. My mom went out to the store, bought Sonic, right? I played it. Like 4 hours later, I bring it to her. I'm done.
Done.
You better get your ass back in there and play that game 100. She paid like $80 for the game. Back in the day, people don't realize this. Back in the day, games were expensive.
Yes.
And I say 4 hours, maybe a little longer. I was a kid. I was 9. I don't remember, but I beat it in like a day.
Yeah.
I just sat and played it. And I don't know why, because I wasn't a gamer, but I guess I was just decent at it. You know what I mean? I picked it up, I got it, played it, beat it, brought it to her, said I was done, and she's like, "You can get your ass back in there and play it."
I played the hell out of Sonic, and I feel like that was a long game. So like, you must have been doing work. You must have been getting it in rings all day, huh?
Yeah, I don't remember what it was. It was on the Genesis. I beat it, and then the next game I get, we rented games here and there. You know, Blockbuster was a big deal back then. But the next game I get like to own was Mortal Kombat. And my fondest memory of that was the Genesis version, unlike the Super NES version, had the blood. You could turn it off. There was a little button to turn it off, but and my mom didn't want me to get the game because it was like it was in the news that the game had blood. It was gory and this and that.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Think about today's games and think about the blood and that. It looked like freaking pudding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, when she would leave the room, we'd turn the blood on.
No way.
And we thought we were so cool, dude. We were playing with the blood. She'd enter the room and we'd quit hitting each other because we didn't want her to see the blood. You know what I mean? She's like, "What are y'all doing?" We're like, "Nothing." You know what I mean? So anyway, from there, I got the PlayStation 1. That was my first, that was my next console after the Genesis. And basically on the Genesis, that's all I played. But the PlayStation 1, it came with a demo disc. This was the last console I can remember that came with a demo disc. Now, my parents, at this time, we were pretty, broke. Or they were broke. They just drug my ass along with them. But they were broke, and we couldn't afford games. They were like, "Didn't it come with a game?" And I was like, "Just a demo disc." And they're like, "Play the demo disc." So I played the shit out of the snowboarding game. I think it was SSX back then.
Didn't we all?
I played it was like one level, one racer, one board, and I played the piss out of that. I knew it. I knew every trick. I knew how to get the highest score on it. And then finally I get Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and it's all downhill from there. I got Tony Hawk, got Grand Theft Auto 1, I got Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. I got all those games that were just mainstream games back then. That's what I played. And that's kind of what I play today. But, they were all mainstream games. And then I met up with a friend who had the PlayStation 1. And so we just kind of traded games and did all kind of cool shit with that. And it was good times. I remember the game Driver. You ever play that game? Driver was like the first 3D game that maybe it was on PlayStation 2. I don't know.
I think I don't know.
It was 3D driving, and my mind was absolutely blown.
I definitely played Driver, and I feel like that was later.
It might have been PlayStation 2. My whole PlayStation kind of in between 1 and 2 is kind of skewed as far as memory goes. So anyway, I played a lot of mainstream games, and then I get the PlayStation 1 kind of dies off. I focus on playing music. I'm a drummer. And I focus on skateboarding because I got into it from Tony Hawk, the pro skating game. And I actually did get sponsored by a local team here in Slidell, believe it or not.
No shit.
And
life imitates art, huh?
And it was, it's a very small team. They gave me a free board. I won a competition. I won one competition, placed second in another, but that's not gaming related. Anyway, so I did skateboard. I took a break from gaming completely. I ended up with a PS2 when the Slims came out. And I got Guitar Hero was the biggest thing I played on the PlayStation 2.
Guitar Hero was the shit.
Dude, I rocked the shit. You can ask Lawless. I played that shit on Expert, top to bottom. Every song, I fucking nailed it. But I'm a musician, so it kind of like the rhythm piece. I'm a drummer, so the rhythm piece just made sense in a way. Of course, the numbers and the fingers getting used to everything was a bitch, but it made sense. So then I took another break from gaming, a couple years, and then in 2009 I bought my PlayStation 3. And from there up until about a year ago, I was a PlayStation only guy. I hated the Xbox. It was just a fanboyism. Is exactly what it was.
Fair to say a fanboy.
It was fanboyism, and I was ignorant for it. And
that happens to like a lot of people.
It's just a feeling to justify what you purchased. Yeah, it's all it is.
You want to know what you got is the best shit.
You want to justify that what you have is best, and there's nothing else better out there because you have it.
Everybody's guilty of it in some way with something they bought at some point.
And I was guilty of it, and hopefully going into the future, that'll kind of stop me from doing that experience of being the fanboy and then switching over to the other side and realizing, hey, they're both comparable consoles. They both have their pluses and minuses, and there was no reason for me to be hating on either one of them, right? And the same thing applies today to both consoles. They're both great.
Well, that's respectable, and the internet will forgive you, right?
The internet, hopefully they will forgive me. So going into there, my first game on the PlayStation was Uncharted 2. Now, you can imagine going from PlayStation 2, in middle of the life cycle, really. I didn't play any of the God of Wars. I didn't play any of those games. And I did own a Wii, by the way, in between this. It was kind of a flop, basically.
Yeah.
But the Wii did lead me, like, I wanted to be a gamer, you know, so I got the PlayStation. And then, I did Uncharted 2 was the first game I bought. It was brand new. I bought my console in December. So like those games released in November, the holiday season. And it blew my freaking mind. Yeah. I mean, swear to God, that Uncharted game just absolutely blew my mind.
That's the only Uncharted I've had an okay amount of time with so far. It's a good game. Good game.
Yeah. Well, when I bought that and Need for Speed Shift. Because I used to like racing games back when PlayStation 1. And, you know, we rent the racing games, the Gran Turismo and all that shit. And so I'm like, yeah, let me get this awesome looking game and this awesome looking racing game. But I never opened Shift because I talked to Lawless and he's like, Shift sucks. You need Modern Warfare 2. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, let me do that. I brought it back, shifted it out. Now I took Modern Warfare 2 unknowingly and set it aside. I'm into Uncharted. I'm into the multiplayer. I'm playing the multiplayer like fuck Uncharted. I mean, fuck Modern Warfare 2. This multiplayer is awesome. And then I get into Modern Warfare 2. End of the world.
Everything changes, huh?
It was mind blowing is really what it was. I played the single player first, like a noob. I played the single player first, and then I played the multiplayer, and I was the noob tubing bitch with the scar, and I was that kid because I had no idea what was going on, right? So I played that game for a while, and then Battlefield Bad Company 2 comes out.
Oh man.
Now, I just want to say while I pause right here, out of every game, you know what? There was a moment, I almost forgot to say this. There was a period of time in between my PlayStation 3 and my PlayStation 2 that I played PC games. I played, the only thing I say games, the only thing I played was Counter-Strike. And, I played the piss out of Counter-Strike. It was during my time working as a mechanic. One of the mechanic guys said, hey, play Counter-Strike. It works on almost any PC. And I'm like, fuck yeah, let me play it. So, you know, I used to be in the first person shooters or whatever. We played GoldenEye with cousins and things like that on the N64. So I've played a lot of games. I want to say that. I know what I'm saying about what I've owned and my history as far as I go, but I've played a lot of games throughout the history. So back to Counter-Strike. I got so into that game that I ended up playing it at a competitive level. And it was brutal. It was just insane. I love that game.
Now, when you say competitive level, like what exactly?
Not MLG. It's kind of like game battles. We had a big team. We'd go in. I was more of a scrim guy, but every once in a while when they had a spot, they'd pull me in.
And this was like on the internet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. It was on the internet. It was the Kuda clan, which is a funny name to think about. But yeah, it was just a lot of fun. A bunch of great guys. I was a young kid and I got in. I just had good aim. And so they picked me up and they're like, dude, you need to scrim with us. And every once in a while I get to play competitively. So that's why I wanted to say that, because I played that a lot. And now Bad Company 2, I want to say that is and still is my favorite first person shooter of all time. Now, I'm a Call of Duty guy. Everybody knows that. That's tough for me to say because of the internet piece and the YouTube piece, but I always want to be truthful with everybody. Bad Company 2 is my favorite first-person shooter of all time. I just had so much damn fun with that game. It was just kind of unstoppable. Like, and maybe it was because of the squad we had, right? We had me, Lawless, J-Rod, and Rob, and we were just killing it. We loved it.
Well, and anybody that's ever spent any significant amount of time with that game will not blame you. That game, at the time it came out, was a mind-blowing game. Like,
really was.
You had never played like that open multiplayer experience like that.
And then the destructible environments.
Oh, man.
Then you had the tanks. You had the helicopters. And it was like, dude, I'll never forget. There was moments in that game I'll never forget. Just simple moments. I remember I went into an area. Took the B flag. We played Domination a lot, or whatever it was called, whatever. So I took the B flag, and there was a tank, and I was facing another tank. So I shoot the tank. The tank goes down. I'm hurt, but I'm still up. Through the smoke, another tank comes. And so me and this tank are going at it, dude. And Rob, I think one of our guys jumped out. He's fixing my tank. Another guy jumps out. He's shooting rockets at that tank. It's just one of these epic moments that, like, we came victorious in that moment. He had a fresh tank, and I was fucked. And as a team, we came together, one doing rockets, one fixing me, I'm shooting him, and we took him down, and it went on into where this team was spawning. It's just absolutely amazing, that game and what they did. And then, you know, in my opinion, Battlefield 3 is too much. And I know a lot of people love that game, and I can respect that because there's a lot going on, but it's just too much, and it's kind of broken and inconsistent because of the it's because it's so complicated, in my opinion.
I disagree, and I think that the current state Battlefield 3's in, it's excellent. I think that it is a watermark in multiplayer gaming at this point. When it first came out, I wouldn't disagree with what you're saying.
But still, I mean, what about the servers they make people pay for? Those servers suck. That 1,000 ticket domination, like that's just money hungry bullshit. You're forcing us to pay for servers.
Yeah, but that's
if you want to play
model.
It's a stupid ass business model.
They got to make
because
money.
They got rid of the regular servers. Yeah, give people servers. That's great. What about leaving your regular servers going?
No, they added a gang of EA hosted servers.
That's regular games.
Regular games, vanilla maps, or any part of the DLC you want to play.
They should have did that right out of the gate.
Yeah, well, they kind of it was a learning curve they had.
A learning curve for EA in Battlefield in the third iteration of that game, the fourth Battlefield game they made.
No, it was a learning curve for dedicated servers that are hosted and owned by a player. That's new. That's new to the world of Battlefield.
So they went full force, jumped on a grenade, and went in it 100%. Everybody got the servers. We're out.
No,
I mean,
they
you think that's
never
a smart way to
shut
do it?
down every one of their EA servers.
Anyway, enough about Battlefield.
Yeah.
So Black Ops 1 comes out. This is my first ever midnight launch that I went to.
Nice.
Black Ops 1 blew my mind. I got to the point where I was just, me and Lawless and J-Rod. Rob bounced out, or Six Psycho, he bounced out. Me and Lawless and J-Rod are in. We hook up with the Two Sick clan. And we're dropping dogs, several sets of dogs in domination, not demo. I hated demo. So we're dropping several sets of dogs, and we're just to that point where I'm rocking like a 4 KD, the win loss is through the roof, and it's like, man, I'm almost bored pub stomping. Like this is almost, and I don't want to be a bitch about it, it's almost too easy. So I was like, man, what can we do to change it up? So I was thinking MLG. I was thinking, the competitive side was really all I was thinking. And then I discovered YouTube sniping. At this point, sniping's completely broken in battle, in Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1, completely broken. So I wanted to try it. I'm like, well, I need a challenge. Fuck the KD. I've proven what I'm capable of. I want to try sniping. So I did. And I sucked at it. I sucked at it bad. Because it was terrible. And I've thought about this series I want to do on my channel is a look back. I want to take a look back because it's inspiring to me to look back myself.
Yeah.
And see, like, the montages that I made were so fucking terrible. The shots that I thought were clips were terrible in today's standards. But you know what? We all start somewhere. And that's the inspirational piece is because, somebody who wants to break into sniping today, you're not going to be a beast. I mean, you may do okay, but you're not going to be a beast. And, it's inspiring to see where someone who they might consider a good sniper like myself, they might consider me good. It's inspiring to see that I did start sucking, basically. You know what I mean? So I kind of thought about that series. I mean, what do you think about that? It seems wise.
Yeah, I like that idea. I think that, in all honesty, I think people are more interested in seeing you just beast mode it up.
I get that. And I mean, I'm not going to stop that. I'm not going to replace it. That's additional. More content, basically.
But it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see that from somebody like you.
And I want to do a commentary over it. You know what I mean? I don't want to just
this
re-upload.
Is like in your theater from.
Anyway, I'll show you. Anyway, so the rest is history. I started sniping Black Ops 1. The rest is on YouTube, basically. So now that everybody knows, essentially, or, most of our listeners now, and everyone can go back and listen if they need to. Now they know my history of gaming and what I think, or where I come from. Now we'll talk about what I like later, but I want to give you a chance to, kind of give us your backlog in gaming and talk about what you love and hate and all that stuff.
First of all, let me say that is a beautiful history in video games. That was nicely done, sir.
Like I said, I had a little bit of time to think about it because I thought about that topic.
I hear a faint round of applause just coming through the speakers right now. So, my history is kind of the same in the beginning with you. The NES came around. My dad basically brought home an NES, and I had to be about 5. What'd you say? You was about 5? We're the same age.
I was 4. I think I swear I was 4 or 5, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where I was always a kid that would, if I ever got the chance, I would like to go hang out at the arcade, throw some quarters in the machines. I don't even know if some of the kids that, might end up hearing this understand the arcade mechanic, from when we were really young.
Just from a side note, like I never did the arcade much. Believe it or not. I mean, I did, it was a thing.
It was a big
thing,
deal.
But it wasn't a big deal for me.
I didn't get to go a lot, but when I did, man, it was a big deal. And then bringing the NES home, you know, I was like, no way. Well, you mean I could just play this whenever I want? There's no quarters,
There's
no
quarters.
nothing. You know what I mean? And I did the same thing like you, man. I played Mario, and that's all we had. We had Mario and Duck Hunt.
That's well, it came together.
Yeah, right. So, I mean,
and the guns. Tell me the guns didn't blow your freaking skull off.
And they worked good.
They work better than some shit that some of the Kinect stuff that works today.
Yeah, man. I played the shit out of Mario and Duck Hunt, and just, you know, to no end. And stayed with the Nintendo for a long time. I had the NES system well into Sega's life cycle.
See, I didn't own the SNES or the N64.
Yeah, and
cousins and friends. That's it.
Well into the SNES life cycle, I was still playing the Nintendo. Just because, you know, like, it wasn't like there was no way I was convincing my parents to say, we need to go buy a new game system. They'd be like, son, you have a Nintendo. Like, you know what I mean? And I was at the point where none of the games worked correctly. I was blowing cartridges all day. Used to have to stick. Tell me you don't remember that.
I remember blowing cartridges.
I had a Game Genie, right? And you used to have to stick the game. I swear to God, you used to have to stick the Game Genie on the game just so it would work at some point.
Oh, no shit.
And
like a little throughput type of thing.
Yeah, I don't know how it worked. Like, you know, my scientific brain wasn't evolved that young, but
you just knew you tried shit, something worked, commit to it, right?
Yeah, and I played the shit out of the first Nintendo. Like, for the longest time, I would go to friends' house and stuff and play the newer systems and get to do that. But the next console that I got, you know, after the whole Sega thing passed and the Super Nintendo, I think I might have had a Super Nintendo. Like, really wasn't that much into it. But then I got a Nintendo 64. The fucking Nintendo 64 blew my mind.
I remember my cousin had it, and when I saw Mario 64,
now you have to understand the time.
I didn't get it. Yeah, I didn't understand.
You have to understand the times of, like, when they tell you 64-bit graphics, you're just like, what the fuck? That shit is real life, son.
Well, when I saw GoldenEye,
yeah,
I literally had to scoop my brain up off the floor,
dude.
I mean, imagine. I want to just pose this question. If you pause your thing right quick, I want to just pose this question. Imagine what we would have thought if we would have saw what we see today. Like, if you just take a snapshot of Call of Duty and bring it back to when we were playing N64.
And show it to your 7-year-old self. Your 10-year-old self.
What would happen?
You might die from a heart attack.
It'd be brutal, dude.
But at the same time, I really think you wouldn't appreciate it. You'd just be like, oh, that's what they're doing? Whatever. You know what I mean?
So anyway, continue. I'm sorry. I just like that thought.
The Nintendo 64, man. I played the Mario 3D, what was it called?
Mario 64.
Mario 64, yeah. I'm sorry, I blanked on the name.
And they had Mario Kart 64, which also blew our minds.
Yes. But then a game that I played that really kind of fucking fucked my head up was Duke Nukem 64.
I played that game.
Did you play that shit?
I played a couple levels. I never owned it. You know, like I said, I go to friends and cousins' houses, and
I would rent this game. And this is a foreign concept to maybe some younger people too.
Renting.
Going to the fucking, like, this was a big deal because, like you said, games were expensive.
Oh my God. So $100 some of them.
Renting a game from like a Blockbuster or a local video store. We had a Pat's Video, and I grew up in kind of like a shitty neighborhood. Like, it was like a Pat's Video next to the convenience store. And rent video games every chance I got. And I would rent Duke Nukem 64 like over and over again, and it was a terrible game. But at the time, it was fucking awesome. It was like one of those things where and I can't remember how old I was at this point.
Yeah.
But if you know Duke Nukem, there's kind of like some rude and lewd shit.
Oh
in
yeah,
there.
yeah, I know Duke Nukem.
And it's like you know, I would be playing this.
My gun's bigger than yours.
Yeah, it's just corny shit. But I would be playing this unbeknownst to my parents, who, like, you know, my parents are cool. They really didn't care what the fuck I was doing, honestly. Yeah. But it would kind of be like this thing, like, oh, I'm experiencing something that's way cooler than you understand. Like, you don't know. Like, you think I'm in here just playing Pong and jumping on top of turtle shells. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm in here shooting shit and listening to, you know. Yeah. It's time to eat shit and chew bum, whatever he said.
No, anyway, I had a long history with the Nintendo Entertainment System. And then, you know, it went to the N64, and there was a company called THQ that recently went out of business. No, THQ went out of business.
But they pretty much
they up until recently they went out of business. They kind of had like this fire sale where they had to sell everything, and it was a big clusterfuck. But for a long time, dude,
Ubisoft got a lot of them.
THQ used to make these wrestling games. like WCW, WWF.
Never in my life have I been into wrestling for some reason.
There was a short period when I was, not really, a very short period.
Yeah.
But the video games for these wrestling games, and I know somebody out there knows what I'm saying. THQ, they came out with these games. It was like WCW, NWO Revenge, and
whatever.
Then it was No Mercy. On the Nintendo 64. But the cool thing about these games was, it was a fighting game pretty much. So, if you come from the Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat background that like gamers like us come from, you appreciate a fighting game at that time.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about these wrestling games was you could customize everything. You could change the way your player looked, make your own man, and this was kind of like
that was like revolutionary.
This was like the first instance of that. So even if you didn't, there was a lot of people who didn't like wrestling or wrestling games, and
you still appreciated.
They played the fuck out of these early wrestling games because they let you customize your character. You beat the shit out of people, and I don't know. I don't want this to sound weird like I'm some wrestling dude because I've never really ever watched wrestling. But no, those games though, the games were fucking awesome, and then let's see, after the 64, I played the PlayStation 1 and all of its, all
the typical games.
All the typical games, dude. I mean, I played the shit out of the PlayStation 1.
I played the Grand Theft Autos and all that stuff. Yeah.
I missed the PlayStation 2. Like, I kind of, that was at the point in my life where gaming kind of faded a little bit for me. And then whenever I got excited about gaming again was when Microsoft started talking about this console they were going to come out with.
The Xbox.
The original Xbox.
Owned the Xbox.
Right? And so I got really excited about that, man. And I bought one.
Correct me if I'm wrong right quick. When they were originally talking about this console, they were talking about releasing it at $99.
I be honest with you.
I've heard
we talked about this last time, but when did it come out? 99-ish? I don't remember.
I remember they said that, and they were stopped by the government because it was potential to cause a monopoly, but I don't know. Anyway, go ahead. Xbox.
I don't even remember how much it was when I bought it, but I know Halo. At this point, I had I had a job and one of my first jobs, and I was able to actually go and buy this for myself. Like the Xbox is important to me because it's like the first gaming console I was ever able to buy on my own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, launch day, dude, I walked into a Walmart and just bought one. Like, so it wasn't so
like a grown ass man.
Like a grown ass man. But like that tells you something. Like, when the first Xbox came out, it wasn't this frenzy of like everybody has to just get one now. Like they're sold out everywhere. Like gaming was kind of in a different place, like socially.
So you just strolled in,
strolled into a Walmart with my, how much was it, like $300? I feel like it was like $300 or something like that.
Couple $100, I'm sure.
And I bought one, and I bought motherfucking Halo, son.
Now, I played that at a cousin's house, and I say cousin a lot. Like, we always used to spend time with family.
Let me explain.
And I played that, and that game blew my mind again.
Halo was the mind blower of all fucking mind blowers.
It really was.
As far as first person shooter games. Now, if you've played the previous Halo, I mean, the Halos after that, the 2s and the 3s and the 4s, and, they had some in between there. But, that's nothing. When that first Halo came out, there was nothing. There was fucking nothing like that first Halo. And, it was just, it was kind of like this open combat environment that really hadn't been seen in a game before like that. And,
it never even been really thought about.
Well,
when they made it, it was barely even a concept to think about.
Like
all
what
of that.
It kind of did was it kind of reminded you of the shooter days of that golden eye.
Except it was way better.
It was way better
because you had twin sticks, right?
Twin sticks
that changed the world in shooters, baby.
Like that really did. It really did. And then, so Halo is this awesome game, but then what happened is people played Halo way longer than you remember that they played Halo. Okay? Now picture this. The internet, not really a fucking thing that too many people have.
No, not at this point.
To
not
game
at all.
with. You could actually game on Xbox Live at this point, but not that many people.
Because they were ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Not that many people had like internet connections to do this.
Yeah.
And so what you would do is you would literally take like your TV and your Xbox and all your peripherals and controllers to somebody's house. You do a LAN party. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
I've heard about it. I actually have never experienced that, especially with the Halo piece.
Basically, you set up a local match, like a local multiplayer, hooking up all these different consoles.
Yeah, I mean, I get the concept. Yeah,
and
it's basically like MLG today. They set up, they do LAN, they do it LAN.
Yeah. But this was like, and I would argue that was kind of spawned from the Halo.
It's possible.
You know, the sensation that Halo kind of brought about.
Yeah.
But yeah, Halo was a big thing, dude. And, you know, I just fucking get off work, get stoned out of my mind, be lugging a TV. Dude, this wasn't a flat screen TV, bro. You understand what I'm saying?
The TVs were huge.
Tube TV. And, yeah, we have like LAN parties, and that happened forever, man. And, then after that, you know, with like, and there was a bunch of games I played on the Xbox One. Sorry, not the Xbox One, the first Xbox.
You got trolled by Microsoft.
Sure did. God damn you, Don Matrick.
We blame him now.
The first Xbox is, it really was like a revolutionary console, at least to me in my personal situation.
I can appreciate
because like
that.
what happens is, you know, I played a bunch of games on there, man. I won't have to get into it and name them, but just because my experience with Halo and that first Xbox console, it was no question that I would get a 360 in the next cycle of consoles.
It was natural. Let's call it. And then the rest is history. I mean, you've played all the major games and all that stuff.
I am a gamer among gamers. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. I've played anything that's been out there. I've played it, you know, especially like the campaign, story driven, really, you know.
You're not a big multiplayer guy. You get into the Battlefield a little bit, but
I get way into Battlefield. I've been addicted to Battlefield 3 hardcore for quite some time. But
Call of Duty, you'll just touch on.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, let's have some, you know, let's be honest right now.
Okay.
I like Call of Duty.
Okay.
The intense competition of Call of Duty and the demand to really play it and keep yourself able to compete kind of threw me out of it.
I can appreciate that.
Because, you know, I don't have all the gaming time in the world here.
Yeah.
I got so much gaming time, you know, as a grown man with a job and a family and stuff. So I really like those experiences like Mass Effect 3 and you know, like stuff like that, Skyrim. You know,
The Last of Us is something I played. Took a break from Call of Duty. It was amazing. It was so fantastic. And I was worried, like I spent $60 on this game and I was worried that, man, you know, I'm going to feel like I need to take a break from that, you know, the Call of Duty that I want to get and stay into. And it's like, no. I played this game and I just loved almost every moment of that game.
Yeah. So what happened was, I played the shit out of, I came into Modern Warfare 2 really, really, I'm talking about like almost right before Black Ops launched.
Okay.
Black Ops was the next one.
Yeah,
Black Ops launched. And, I played the shit out of it. I played the shit out of the first Black Ops as much as I could. But like I said, you know, I wanted to spend a lot of my gaming time playing these story driven games because I'm really into that. So it just like at some point, everybody kind of in the Call of Duty pack, cause you would agree that like kind of Modern Warfare 2 is when Call of Duty really gained like the gigantic fucking base of players that it did, right?
Yeah, I mean Call of Duty 4 started it because it wasn't at launch that it started it though, because it launched and then it was revolutionary and then it gained an audience. So when Modern Warfare 2 came out, that's when they started breaking all the launch records and stuff
basically
like that.
When that happened, it got to a point where everybody in the pack kind of left my skill level and it wasn't as enjoyable to play Call of Duty with people anymore.
Cause you don't want to play with all the easy to use stuff, right?
Yeah. You know, and
they make that for noobs. I mean, you know, basically.
I guess they do. And I'm not trying to make an excuse for why I don't play Call of Duty, but I do like to spend my gaming time elsewhere. But
and that's understandable. And that's good because I play a lot of the multiplayers and you don't. So we have a good semblance of all games on the podcast here. So that's our history in gaming, and
in a nutshell.
In a very tight little nutshell, because we could probably talk about this for hours. I do have a couple thoughts that I want to go looking into the future. You know, kind of coming off the hinges of this, I guess you could say. So what do we think? What are our thoughts on the abysmal Wii U? What do you think about this thing?
I would think that by all accounts, it's a failure.
I think so too. I think this may be the console that drives Nintendo into games only. I more or less I don't think that. I hope that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I hope that
too,
they got so much money in a war chest somewhere that they could do whatever the shit they want. They can make 10 more consoles. I mean, they're bleeding money. But I wish they would just start making games so I could enjoy some Nintendo games on my Xbox or PlayStation.
Yeah, well, that would be beautiful if you could kind of just
kind of like Sega.
Yeah,
like Sega.
That Nintendo catalog anywhere, which is a lot of people really want that to happen. But here's the thing, though. I don't hate the Wii U. I don't really hate many things at all because I'm not that kind of dude. But as a console, I don't hate the Wii U because think about this. They kind of launched that second screen idea, right?
I don't even. I mean, what do we think about the second screen experience?
They kind of. Well, I want to make a point here. They kind of launched the second screen.
Well, they launched the motion control that everybody else was copying
right, and everybody caught on to that. And then they launched the second screen. And when you looked at E3, what did almost every goddamn game that you were looking at, and you were, that was really a prominent big name game, they all claimed second screen functionality. So think about that.
I think it's just a check mark. At this point, kind of like some games include multiplayer.
I agree.
It's a check mark on the list of this is what we need to have to make the game successful.
Nintendo's forward thinking is impressive, even though I think the console fails because it lacks behind these other consoles in major ways. But
it's just bad timing is really all it was. If they would have released this, say 2 years after the regular Wii launched, and then they would have changed the name, right? The Wii U is that's the problem, is that the casual audience that is the audience of the Wii. For most intents and purposes, I know there's a lot of hardcore Nintendo fans, but for the casual audience that is the audience of the Wii, they don't understand, much like your parents didn't understand, that the Nintendo was the Nintendo Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
They didn't get it. So most people thinking the Wii U is it's the iPad piece.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother console. I mean, they aren't clear about it. Their advertising sucks. And it's just, it hasn't been working out for them, basically. So, I just wanted to talk about our thoughts on that and maybe, branch off from that into, Nintendo. They really do successful with their 3DS and their DS.
They do great. I mean, but
and that's probably where they're building that war chest full of money.
Don't count Nintendo out like just yet. And this is going to be like, the long game here, but Nintendo still can, like you said, they have a war chest full of money. They can still go back to the drawing board, spend the better part of a decade designing a console using their forward thinking and really high tech technology of the next gen beyond the PS4 and Xbox One. And they could really design a console that will be like the shit that is the futuristic shit that you want to have in, a decade from now.
I think they need to release the next Nintendo 2 years after the Xbox and PS4. If they do that and they can get a jump on the technology, then they can capture the audience that is the gamers today, which is us.
That's what I mean, really. Yeah. But you can't.
I mean, no. I don't think I'm counting them out. I would never count them out.
I would just like to see Nintendo. All right, let me break this back down because I was all over the place just now. I would like to see Nintendo go back to the drawing board, do whatever they got to do, look at the current trends in social, media and really build a console from the ground up that's just groundbreaking with all that forward thinking and all the right technology and really impress us. Cause that competition in the marketplace is important.
It really is. And I appreciate that too, because it is important to have that competition because then that drives everyone else to make better things because look at Madden. Look at Madden.
Yeah,
that's the ultimate, that's the poster child of complacency, basically. So, I just wanted to touch base on that. There's some other stuff here. I know last week you talked about, killer apps on the Kinect. And so I was thinking about it and I heard in the news that Killer Instinct, speaking of killer apps, Killer Instinct is coming out with a way to recognize, the player and change recognize the player that's sitting down and change the change the control scheme. It knows the player. That's pretty cool.
Well, that's one of those things, like
that's one of those features, but it's not the killer app.
It's not. What is it?
Because think
about how it applies to
how often do you change players in the game?
Yeah,
I think the killer app for Kinect. I think the killer app for the Kinect 2.0. And now that we've had a week to think about it, right? The killer app for the Kinect 2.0, especially for me and you who have children, is look at the kids' shows that's on TV. They all promote interactivity.
Right.
Put those shows on Xbox with actual interactivity. So when the kid says, 5, It recognizes.
Yeah.
How awesome is that?
Didn't they kind of already try to do that with like some kind of Sesame Street thing?
Probably.
Yeah.
But the problem is, it probably didn't sell. Why? Because not everybody had a Connect. Now, everybody will have a Connect.
Yeah, good point.
So I think that's the killer app for most homes, for most people. That's all I could think of. Hopefully somebody will tweet at us and say, hey, this may be what's cool. Anyway, I think that's a show. You know, we kind of fleshed out our history in gaming. This has definitely been a long show. And that's pretty much it, guys. There's not a whole lot of news. It's all kind of dead right now. Moving into the next console generation. Games are cool.
Yeah. Well, you know, before we close it out, what's been going on in the world of Too Sick TV and Team Caliber?
Too Sick TV as usual. I'm thinking about that series I was talking about with the a look back, let's call it, at the old montages and what I used to, you know, basically just to look back at the beginning of my channel and kind of maybe take a time series look through, you know, everything that I've done in the past as far as montages and snipings. And hopefully the whole idea behind this is to be at least mildly inspirational to some of the beginning snipers out there today, because there's so many people who play the game. Somebody might want to be getting into sniping. They're thinking to themselves, hey, you know, this is not working for me. Well, you know, in the beginning, it didn't work for me either. And I kind of want to show that and basically for that inspirational piece. The other thing that's going on with Team Caliber is we're starting up the top 5 plays. That's the community thing. That's what's really awesome, is that we're including the community in what we're doing. So you have a chance to include your top 5 plays, not only in sniping, but in war beasting, which is pub stomping. You get an awesome clip, a nuke, you know, fast ass nuke or crazy stuff like that. Those will be clips. You get the top 5 knifing streaks or clips or whatever, you know, crazy bank shots and awesome trick shots and shit like that. Top 5 fails, which is just going to be funny as hell. And then you got, on top of that, right? So the top of the actual clips, not the fails, will be included in the future in a montage edited by one of Team Caliber's amazing editors. Yeah. That's cool because these guys get to be featured in a montage on Team Caliber's website, which, as of right now, as we record this, I gotta say that because it's changing every minute. We're at about 18,000 subscribers. Nice. And it's just gonna keep growing. It's gonna grow fast. We haven't even announced the MLG team. You know, behind the scenes, some crazy things are going on. I don't even know most of it. So it's kind of overwhelming, but you know, this podcast is essentially powered by Team Caliber and Too Sick TV, the YouTube channel, and without them, this doesn't exist. Right. So, you know, go check those out. Tell us what you think, comment, you know, everything like that. So anyway, follow us on Twitter, tweet at us, interact with us. It's awesome. I'm at Too Sick TV. You're at Sean_Zulu. Don't forget the underscore. Yeah, baby. Thank you for joining us. I'm Six Sensei. You're Sean Zulu, and we're out. Peace.